We are not going to lose any balloons on my watch.
Memories. It's all just a memory now.
True. A memory from a long time ago. Almost 3 years. So
that is crazy.
Well, what up, everyone? It has been a couple weeks since we have last seen you. It's been 3 weeks. Usually our hope is to put out a recap weekly, but somebody was gallivanting around the world.
Woo! I had so much fun. I was just doing a little reboot Amazing Race in my style. Nice and steady with lots of pastries in between.
So where'd you go?
We did London, which was so fun, and like a half marathon a day. And then we did Bath and Oxford. And I went down and saw some of the scenes of where the Amazing Race season 33, I think I stuck it on the alumni chat when they punting in the boats. And then we did a little Switzerland, and we did several cities, and then Colmar, France. So yeah, we just had a ball. So it was super, super fun. I went with Papa and, of course, Bailey and my oldest daughter, and it was so much fun. So, yep, felt very grateful.
Yep, mom was traveling for the last couple weeks, and unfortunately the time difference was about 9 hours, but you know, she got to go exploring in Europe. The Amazing Race, she went from not being outside the world to now you have done multiple Europe trips. And
I have. It gives you the bug. It definitely gives you the courage to do things you didn't think you were capable of doing. So I hope that everyone from this team is finding that too, that they all have a super takeaway from it.
I know. So, I mean, we have a lot to cover. So might as well just dive in. Our goal is to like recap the episodes, and then we're going to talk about the Butler draft, because that is like we want to be the highlights of our episode, is being able to talk about each team, what they did during the episode, just to be able to highlight, because this is an awesome group of humans. So,
oh my goodness, it's been so fun to watch them, and just the way that most of them have encouraged each other and been super kind and had so much fun. You can tell they're having a good time.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this is episode 1. So episode 1, they start in LA, and then they have to drive to the airport, which is about a 30-minute drive. It's the only self-driving that they've had so far, is getting to the airport. And then they race to try and get on one flight, and 4 people get on the first flight, and then everybody else is on the other flights. Then they fly to Hong Kong, which is the first location. And then, Mom, they have to go up a bunch of stairs.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw them and someone said stairs, I went, oh, get used to it. That's the theme of Amazing Race. Stairs. You're going to see them again. I just promise you, you're going to see something high, you know, I'm sure, as they already experienced. So I'm just like, stairs and heights. So, but yeah, these guys, I wonder if when they got off the plane in Hong Kong, if they got some rest. I'd be curious to ask one of the teammates, or if they started racing right off the bang, because you know, jet lag is a thing. So that would have been very difficult.
If they had just gotten off the flight.
If they just got off and they kind of, I mean, I'm sure they reset them in the airport, but to then just continue racing, I'm hoping they got to go sleep off a little bit, but you know, you never know. So
that is true. That is true. Also, I'm going to post on Instagram real quick, just saying that we are live with Read the Clue recap. I'm going to drop the link. Thank you to that couple people that has tuned in to watch this episode. Super fun. Excited to have you here. So, but yes, so stairs, and we had Jackie.
And it looked warm. There was some sweat pouring off some of those folks. So even though it was raining, you know, which was probably refreshing, it looked warm.
Yeah.
Or humid, I guess. Hong Kong, I think, is humid. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear a little bit more from the folks that were there, but I'm sure we will.
So Was it Jackie or Lauren who had the fear of stairs?
Jackie, right?
Okay.
No, the one on I get their names mixed up. So the younger sister.
I think that was one of the first things that popped up is like they were talking about this fear that they needed to overcome, which is 3 points right there for overcoming the stairs. But I know that was like a significant story of the episode. Was
And
like,
how sweet the sisters were to each other. And her sister just encouraged her and went back for her. There was never a negative or a laugh or anything. It was just like, I think she didn't know it. Actually, I saw an interview with them, the exit interview, and she didn't know that about her sister until it happened. And so I thought that was really cool the way she handled it without knowing. So yeah, pretty special relationship there. I love those ladies have a lot of positive stuff going on in their life.
I was going to say someone else had a fear of horses revealed round 1 of the Amazing Race and overcame it.
Well, I knew the fear though. So they tend to emphasize those fears. I just didn't know it was going to be horses when we were walking in. So yeah, that was pretty iconic.
So the next thing that they had to do was who is ready for some ups and downs. So Mom, if we saw who is ready for some ups and downs,
I would have said, go do it, Danny, go do it. Anything
why?
up? I would have totally made you go do that one. Plus it was the first one. You would have done it anyways, because you were all about, this was your race. So yeah, you would have totally done that. And you would have killed it.
I think it depends though. Like, had
we been on the bamboo climb that they had to do?
Had we been on the first flight and had the 2-hour advantage, right?
And had not the first one. You were doing everything on the first day. You know it. Yeah. You would have done it. You would have been all over that one. So
for the first one, yeah. And so something we saw though was Jonathan and Anna got over on the ferry first, finished the challenge, but then everybody caught up to them on the way back.
Yeah, they were a little discouraged about that. So, but I understand. They thought they had a lead and then it leveled out. That happens in the Amazing Race a lot. Well, I wish we'd have had some more levelers. We didn't have levelers. So, but I like it when they do that because it kind of resets and gives everyone another shot to go after it. It creates a motivation in all the teams again, rather than always being discouraged, like, oh, I'm behind. So I loved it.
True. I enjoy a good equalizer. So, all right. Then we had the brand new twist, which is called
Work in the Road. That was really, I thought a lot about that. What would we have done if we, arrived in the middle? So,
so there's dance and sing. If we had arrived in the middle of the group.
Well, your strategic brain, you would have looked at where we had the most time.
Yep.
So I think, and both dance and sing, I think we both, well, I don't know. I probably would have pushed for singing.
Yeah.
Because I love music and I would be worried about the physicality of dance, not knowing what kind of dance it was, like the break dance. So the dance though, however, that they did was such a partner dance that I think we could have done it. But I think I would have pushed for singing. How about you?
I think dance is like the one that I'm like, okay, we can learn the steps, but singing sometimes it's like what you're doing wrong. Like in dance, sometimes you aren't paying attention to your feet. You can't see where you mess up your feet. Where like when you're singing, when you say something wrong. You can see the judges when you've messed up something. Where dancing, sometimes you don't find out till the end of the routine. Like we saw with Nick and Mike, they didn't realize that they were messing up because the tail of their dragon wasn't down.
Right.
With singing, you have a pretty good idea of.
And they didn't have to memorize the singing. They just had to look at it. And then, but they did have to do the actions too. So
yep. They did. And it was
there's some memorizing along with the singing. But
yeah,
I thought they were here's the deal. One thing I really loved about episode 1, I felt like they were very equal in their doability. Like there wasn't one that was extra physical. There wasn't one that was extra. I feel like they were, even the dance didn't seem as physical as rocking horses versus memorizing. You know what I mean? So I felt like dance and sing were both pretty equal. And I loved that they involved the culture. I loved that. That was awesome.
Yeah. So. I think that was pretty cool. I think one other highlight here is like Courtney and Jasmine, they were last to come up to the board where the last 2 spots were open. And we hear a little bit of their thoughts of making a strategic decision based off of who they thought, a little bit of the strategic mind. And they end up going with dance, and it ends up serving them well because they end up surviving.
Yeah.
On the dance side, it is a foot race to the finish line.
Yeah, it was Mike and Larry.
Nick and Mike, Mark and Larry, and Courtney.
Yeah, sorry.
Jasmine.
And just a note to Mark and Larry, I know they were out first too, but they were so encouraging to each other as well. So it was fun to see them take it in stride and be gracious. And yeah, so that was at least, always what you see on the camera. So it was awesome to see them have a good time together.
Yeah. And you have to wonder, like, okay, Courtney and Jasmine didn't have their bags, so how close was it? Did they drop their bags and sprint? Like, how close was the finish line actually? It probably was pretty close, but I definitely, for Nick and Mike to go from first place to getting to the board very first, then being a foot race to the finish line as super fans on that first day, that's a pretty gnarly first episode for
I almost lost 2 guys on the one shot. So
Nick and Mike. So all right, well, let's dive into the points of episode 1. All right. So
I was in London. All I did was watch it. I didn't take points on this one. So hopefully you did.
So I'm going to give a quick update of the points. So again, different ways that you can get points. 1, you get 1 point if you encourage your partner throughout the episode. So you get 1 point per team. That's the max amount of points you can get. You get 1 point if you survive the leg. You get 2 points if you have the episode title. Nick and Mike, you guys had the episode title this week, so 2 points to you. You gain 2 points if you get good directions in a self-driving leg and pass another team. So when you're self-driving and you pass another team or on foot, it's 2 points. A leg win is also 2 points. So congratulations to both Josiah and Alyssa and Jack and Carson for those 2 points. And then if you swap detours and survive,
that's 3 points, isn't
3
it?
3 points. And then if you overcome a fear or an obstacle, that's 3 points to you. So let's highlight some of those fears and obstacles. Jackie and Lauren not only overcame stairs,
but also the Tower of Bamboo.
Also overcame a Tower of Bamboo.
I was so excited for her both of them, but when she did that, when she climbed that, oh man, I just knew her heart and how she would feel afterwards, just so accomplished, and that she overcame something she didn't think she could do. I was super proud of her.
Which is really, really awesome. I think the other people that overcame something was Nick and Mike with the dancing. They talked a little bit about how they were struggling with it at the beginning, and they didn't give up. They were like, all right, we are going to lock in and not be the super fans that have waited for 7 years to do this and then are eliminated first.
Yeah. No, they've got some grr to them. They're going to keep going. They've worked too hard.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's a little bit of the recaps of points. Other teams got points for being encouraging, for surviving the leg. So let's dive into episode number 2. They get to fly to Osaka, Japan. There's a couple of flights, but they immediately go from Osaka, Japan to an intersection, which hasn't been seen in a little while. I don't know. Last time the intersection was seen was Amazing Race 16.
I do not like intersections. I hate intersections, actually, because there's just, the heart of just, like, I think of all the kids on our team and all, you just love your team. And so if you're responsible or you feel responsible, whether you are or not, to bring somebody else down, it would just, for me, that would just kill me. It would kill me. I would cry.
This is mom's worst nightmare. I've thinking about this.
It is my worst nightmare, unless it's something I can do, obviously. But there was always a fear for me. Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to do this? Until about episode 6, when I was like, okay, I'm having fun. I'm doing this. But it takes you a while to get into the race game, and just doing that right off the bat. Now, that particular challenge drums, I'd have been all over it. I'd have loved it. I don't think I would have brought anybody down. It would have been awesome. So
you would have passed multiple teams.
yes, but if it were something physical, really physical, like climbing a rock or something, then yeah, poor person that got stuck with Mom and Danny. So but you could also choose, that was a roadblock. So I guess you got to choose who did it.
Yeah.
So,
but who's ready to beat the competition? I think
would
that have been, I would have immediately gone, this is a music thing. Mom is doing this. Because the other way it could have been is like a boxing thing of like learning movements, and you're great with memorization. So I'm like, I think this would have been a good one for you to have done.
Especially if we'd have gotten there ahead of time.
Yep. And so, but here's what is sad about this is Bridget get there first. They were my first draft pick. I was like, these are such a strong team. And I think they were.
Oh, Ernest and Bridget.
They were a really strong team. The previous leg, they had gotten what? I think third place. Yeah, they got third place overall. I was like, this is the team to watch out for. Sleeper pick. They got there first, partnered with Mark and Brett. And unfortunately, after I heard, I think 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, my word.
How long? But
and here's the deal. Ernest being a dad, and the gracious dad that he was, and the amazing dad that he was, I knew, and his daughter was just, like she said, she was worried about the other team. Those are two people that I think were least worried about themselves. And so of all that, I'm sure that was just breaking his heart and probably mounting the stress and causing more of an issue for him, is knowing that he was, being responsible for somebody else. Because as a parent, you just take that on. So, and I think the guys were trying to be kind about it, but obviously disappointed, and you could read it on their faces, which probably didn't help Ernest. They weren't unkind to him, but I think they weren't like, you got this. It was more like, well,
Brett and Mark, like, it was like, you're right. You know your partner, but you don't know how to coach somebody else.
Right. He said that. He said, I don't know how to encourage him.
Yep. And so I know that they probably tried multiple things, but I do think I appreciated the support both partners gave their partners. They both showed up for each other, which was cool. Then you had Jack and Carson, Jonathan and Anna partnered up. Then you had Josiah, and then Nick and Mike. You had Pops and Jeff.
Some of those guys just went in there and boom, 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 boom.
Well, I think the highlight was Scott working with Bernie and Kerrigan. If you remember, Scott, they got in last.
And he took her and he just led her right to success. That was awesome. So awesome. It was like one for the parent. Yes. So, and even Ernest, it was still one for he didn't give up in his, we always say successes are amazing, but you know what? Failures are pretty awesome too, because that's where you learn, and that's where you see courage and you see a lot of things you don't see in successes. So I thought it was really cool for both parent-child teams. I just hope that they both took away something special with it.
Yeah. So Scott and Lori end up making a ton of time. Then you have route info. It's traveling to a bridge, but then you have this detour, which is Mochi or Mawashi. And in Mochi, you build these like little mochi balls.
Those are awesome.
You have to build this tie your sumo thing.
What would you have done? I totally would have done mochi just for Bailey's sake.
I think I would have wanted to have done mawashi because I'm like, oh, we could have just folded things. And I know spatial and patterns aren't your.
I would have totally made rice balls.
But I
would have done whatever.
Mawashi, but I also recognize it's like, could you have done that? Like, would you have been able to tie mine? Like, could you see the?
It depends on how close that sample was, right? I can follow any pattern. It's just whether or not. But how many times we had to watch it?
Only 3 teams did mochi. So Pops and Jeff.
And they seem to do it pretty fast.
Jasmine. So here's something to note. We kind of see the blossoming of an alliance.
Oh, yes, the parent-child teams.
Jeff and Melinda and Erica, who are 2 parent-child teams, where
I hope that goes far because they, if nothing else, they'll enjoy the experience together.
I think it's fun where they come up with the strategy of like, hey, Pops will help out, or Erica will help out Pops, and Jeff will help out Melinda.
That's familiar.
It's familiar to a team that we may have worked with of like, hey, we're going to help people out. But ultimately, I'm excited for the two of them. And Melinda and Erica are like one of the strongest mother-daughter teams in Amazing Race history. Like statistically right now, they are mother-daughter teams almost never place in the top half.
Has mom done a roadblock yet? Nope, not yet. So I'm super excited for her to do one.
Yep.
Because I'm sure that those first couple, she was just scared to death like I was. So it's kind of getting over that first one. And then I think she might, she'll gain a little bit more confidence. But yeah, she hasn't done one yet. So it'll be fun to see which one she does. What her first one.
Well, in the commercials for next week, it shows her sweating and picking something, which is familiar to you.
Well, her daughter reminds me a little bit of you in that she's pretty strategic and knows the Amazing Race. So I think she's got a good coach there.
So, all right, let's dive into the points from episode 2. I think 2 big things is Ernest, Brett and Mark, and Scott and Lori, I think all accomplished something. Brett and Mark, they had to accomplish like, hey, getting over disappointment, being able to survive. And then they not only survived, but they passed multiple teams on the way to the finish line. Ernest and Bridget, Ernest, you never gave up. You always kept going. And why you guys did get eliminated, and I was really bummed because I really thought y'all were going far.
And Bridget, they were, as father-daughter, they were respectful and kind to each other. And that to me is like 1,000 points. So.
And their rap, they sang the rap, sting like a butterfly, or
yeah, I remember.
Like a butterfly, sting like a bee, home doggy dog, why you looking at me? So good.
Yeah. No, they obviously have a great love for each other, and doing the Amazing Race is just one part of their tiny life experiences. I'm sure they're going to and have had amazing lives together. So that's awesome.
Also, huge congratulations. For those that don't know, Bridget just got engaged this last week. And so a big
good job, Bridget.
The Amazing Race crew. I think another big point winner is Scott and Lori for going last place, for being such encouragers, for going, hey, we went from last to second place. And to go from last to second, it's a pretty.
And here's the other thing about that. I really feel like Scott brought out the best in Bernie and Kerrigan, because they were a little snappy with each other before that. They were doing the sibling thing, which drives me insane as a mom of 4 children. But, Scott and Lori have 8, so they know how to handle that. So they just took them right up and brought out the best. And after that, Bernie and Kerrigan were no longer snapping at each other. I'm sure we'll see it again because they're sisters. But
they're not sisters. They're actually friends.
Oh, they're friends? Oh,
yeah,
I thought they were sisters.
But they talk their relationship is like
sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. So
anyways.
But right now I am leading the point total. We both have 1 team. Well, now I have 2 teams eliminated.
That's right. I think I kicked a little boo-boo on this next one.
So, all right. This is the latest episode. So episode 3, they get to start by taking a bullet train to Kyoto, Japan.
That was awesome.
Which there were multiple bullet trains, but just what a fun way to travel. Different, exciting, but you saw teams racing to get. Scott and Lori made the first bullet train, but just racing to land that bullet train. So then they went to a shrine.
I thought it was fascinating that once they got there, they all picked fling.
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, well, I want to get there. Hurry up.
We're almost there. So then we do some shrine and some papering where they put the thing.
Yeah, that was neat.
Paper. But then you have the roadblock. Who's up for some kits?
And but here's the deal. Once again, there were rules when you went through that shrine, and you weren't supposed to walk. I mean, you weren't supposed to run. And a couple of the teams really pushed the envelope there. I hate that because I'm a rule follower, right? So, and there were rule followers there that did follow the rules. And then you had a couple that like kind of broke into a little jog. And I'm like, 10 minutes, 15-minute penalty right there. That should not have happened, because when they give you the rules, it's like popping the balloons, and we were supposed to pick up all our balloons and I was picking up everybody else's. Yeah, that's not cool.
So this is rule followers sometimes get penalized on the Amazing Race.
They do.
I hate saying that, but
it's a risk to not. I even made Danny go back on a crosswalk because he crossed when it was not, you weren't supposed to cross. And I had seen on the Amazing Race, people get penalties for that. So we came back. So yeah, but you just never know which rules they're going to dock you for.
Yeah.
So it's a little inconsistent. So future racers, yeah, make sure that you are
Read the
following
clue
your
and make sure you're following the clue, but
the best you can. And if you take a risk, just know it comes
just
could
know it
come
with
with
a
a
penalty.
consequence.
So, but this was an express pass. So the first team to do both sides of the roadblock. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how I felt about this because it's just a roadblock that's there. I was hoping that the express pass would be a different task that teams would have to leave and go to.
Like when they had to go eat the bugs.
Yep, because then it's a
Or
risk.
climb that mountain.
If you're just there
Yep.
and
There
kicking the
wasn't much
ball,
risk.
it's
There
like
wasn't much risk to it. There wasn't, it wasn't
no.
as exciting as Amazing Race has made things in the past.
So I'm wondering if there was another task and whether it was weather dependent or something got canceled and they're like, oh, we're just going to have it be the first person who does both sides of the roadblock. So
You never know.
But I will say it came down to Jack and Carson and then Jonathan and Anna battling it out.
And I like the way Jack and Carson just said, keep trying until somebody gets it, right? I mean, that was kind of a no-brainer strategy because they're like, do you want to keep doing it or just leave? And because who did that one? Jack or Carson? I can't remember. He kicked the ball really quickly.
Yeah. But then Scott and Lori got there.
Yeah.
Why Jack and Carson, Jonathan and Anna, and they're like, they finished and they're like, nope, we're not staying. We're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and
they got their $5,000 as a result of that. So
they did. But I think a big celebration for Anna. She never gave up, even though I would say that's a 3-pointer right there.
Yeah.
Overcoming and accomplishing.
Anna, way to go, girl. Never giving up.
Good job. And they walk away with the express pass. But as you see right here, the next drama, and the other thing is Courtney and Jasmine, they also never gave up when it came to kicking the soccer ball. It was hot. She had to take her breaks. I saw hey, probably pretty hard with the heat. And I don't know how many times she had to do it, but I know heat can be a thing on the Amazing Race. So
and you think? Nope, she never gave up. And I appreciated her teammate was always encouraging as well. So that was pretty awesome.
But then we have a very
I have to throw out, was it the brother sister? That kid
Halden.
That kid came in there and just made it look like he was the one that set up that challenge. I mean, you know how they say everyone has a challenge? He was so good with that soccer ball. I'd love to watch him play a soccer game. I mean, he was, so I shout out to him because I'm sure he took a little heat for the fighting that episode, but it was awesome to see him do so well in that particular challenge. So,
yeah. And then we get to the lovely fold or fling, which sometimes there feels like there are impossible challenges on the Amazing Race. I think one of those that is recent is season 35 when they had to kick the soccer ball to the bullseye to get perfectly the score that they needed to do. And Rob and Corey were the only team to do it. And Corey talks a little bit about, yes, it was skill, but it was like a lot of luck of getting it perfectly right. They tried so many times
to do it.
This was, you had to 3 for 3. So 9 perfect shots. Both of you be able to fling these things. And if I would have seen that, when there's a skill challenge, it's going to be probably the faster challenge, but it's going to be the riskier and the harder one to do. So the fold
I wouldn't have even thought about flinging it. I just would have walked in to fold it. So.
Yeah, we would have gone over to origami. Yeah. But almost every single team who did fling it
switched. Every single thing. Nobody accomplished fling it. Nobody finished. But I appreciated that they all tried it. So because you got to see it. But boy, there must have been a real trick to that because it was just not. Those nails were not going in. Oh no. Was it Mike?
Nick and Mike were good at it.
One of them just went boom, but then the other brother, Nick, couldn't. One of them couldn't do it. So, anyways, but yeah. So, and again, I was watching these in Europe, so I did take notes, but I get the brothers mixed up. So,
yeah, I think so let's shout out some teams. So Alyssa and Josiah, I think the way that they were like, we don't give up, and this is really hard to switch detours right now, but they did, and they both supported each other through the like switch, and just like really appreciate the way that both of you
and points to the new husband, because it wouldn't have mattered if she'd lost. He made her feel treasured and loved regardless. And so they would have walked away from that winners, whether they lost or not that leg. So he's figuring that husband thing out very quickly, says a woman that's been married 32 years. So to a man that makes her feel treasured all the time. So keep doing it. Keep it up.
So, but we did have some big points this week. A huge point swing to Scott and Lori.
Yes.
Not only did they win the race, incredible job to two parents. They're giving a little bit of like hung and she. They're giving a little bit of like, who was the two from team? They were the kitchen. What was their team name? But they got multiple first places. I'm excited for Scott and Lori. They seem to be emerging as like a threat, which with a U-turn coming up.
Yeah, you have to be careful there. So anyways, and I think Alyssa and Joseph, here's the deal. I think my side of the board at this point in time, watch out. Yes, Jonathan and Anna and Melinda and Erica and Britt and Mark, but I think the next couple, we're going to see some separation, and it'll be really interesting to see if my predictions are right. But
I think Jack and Carson are
absolutely.
I think yes. You have a strong winner.
Just make you smile when you're watching them. They're goofballs. They're a lot like somebody I know named Danny, but they're big old goofballs having fun. They love the Amazing Race, and so that's always fun to see a team be like that, right? Just enjoy every minute. And Scott and Lori are enjoying it. So that's one of the things when I look back the first 4 episodes, I wish I had more enjoyment, but I was so stressed about doing it right. And I know a lot of these teams were too. And Pops and Jeff, they are awesome. So I just love the way Jeff constantly encourages Pops, and there's never been a negative word between them. And that's been fun. So
yeah. It's been a good cast with Courtney and Jasmine going, in these next 11. Like I don't want to see anybody go, but I know
somebody's going. Well, there went my co-host right there. So anyways, but Bernie and Kerrigan, keep rocking it, because I think they're moving up. I'm talking about Bernie and Kerrigan because
okay.
We just went blank.
We just got disappeared.
Yeah, I disappeared. I don't know how to get back on either, because you know
I got you
there. So anyways, nope, that was a super fun episode, and I just very much enjoyed it. But I'm done now with teams going home. I don't want anyone else to go home. I want everybody to win and just share the million. So
but a couple of quick notes before I let Mom close us out is Phil did announce season 38 of The Amazing Race is going to be Big Brother related somehow, and is filming. There's some sneak peeks, there's some discussion, there's some facts out there. As a super fan, I've definitely been scouring over the internet, but don't want to reveal anything yet. / will not be revealing anything because spoilers.
I want to know it all. So.
But I think excited for that, but it really just want to celebrate this cast team. A couple of podcasts that are out there. I know Jack and Carson have a podcast. I know Jonathan and Anna have like a top 10s recap. I've been seeing their podcast. You also have Nick and Mike have a podcast as well. I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anybody's podcast? I know Brett and Mark, they go live the morning after, which is super fun. And then Lori's Fab Life with Scott and Lori. So there are some podcasts out there too.
All those podcasts out there, none of them have been knocking down my doors to get me to be a guest. I don't know.
Mom just wants to be a guest on the podcast, but
I just want to visit with everybody.
Yeah, that's also true. So racers, if you ever want to be on here, just reach out. We would love to have you talk race. We will be on a consistent schedule though of Sundays from now on. But some other podcasts that are out there is James's podcast is airing right now. So James Wallington on his, they started sorry, y'all. They started airing about 4 minutes ago. So go check that out if you want more amazing race content. Purple Pants Podcast also has really good amazing race content.
Love them. Not to say like they're my favorite. I need a shirt that says 100,000 ways I love Bryce. So one day I'm going to actually get to see him in person. I've never met the man in person. So, and Brooke, but I've met Brooke. So I got to meet Brooke. I haven't got to meet Bryce. So maybe he'll go to Orlando, Florida someday at Christmas. Maybe. So,
all right. Do you want to close us out?
I'm actually going to let you, because I have a little bit of a sore throat. So I'm going to let you close us out.
Cool. Just to close us out in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings that you provide in our lives, but also for being a God who is with us in difficult moments of failure and challenge, but also walks alongside us in those journeys. I pray for these teams as they continue to read about themselves on the internet, give them protection, and know that their identity is found in you. In your heavenly name, amen. Catch us next week for Read the Clue recap, but for now, it has been Danny Butler.
Talk to you guys later.